Good morning, friends. Oh, excuse me. So my coffee's finally kicked in. This is going to be one of those videos where I can't look at the camera all the time. And it may be a little shaky because obviously I'm in the car. I gotta go grocery shopping. Blech. Anyway, so I wanted to come on. I just read that new book, Initiated. It's very good. It's not quite what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a memoir of her magical life, and it's kind of a memoir of her entire life, like loved ones and everything. So that was pretty good. But one thing she talked about in there was death. She had lost a friend. And, you know, I was thinking about a couple years ago, I did a ton of shadow work on death because, as a lot of you know, my brother committed suicide at the age of 21. He had schizophrenia and he was gay and was made fun of because of it, and not accepted by one of my parents because of that. And I was 10. So, you know, that was my first experience with death that I could remember, was that. I mean, I had a grandmother pass away and a great-grandmother pass away, but I didn't remember any of that because I was so little. So anyway, I had a hard time with death for a long time. You know, I walked up to the casket my brother was laying in. Of course, Mom had him all formaldehyded and all that stuff, which I don't agree with, but that's another subject that we'll get to later. So he looked like he was sleeping. You know, they did a great job. I'm not saying they didn't, but I doubt that's what he would have wanted. So anyway, I had a really hard time with it. So at that point, I had come across two books. The first one, When Smoke Gets in Your Eyes, and the second one, From Here to Eternity, both by Caitlin Doty. She has a website, The Order of the Good Death, which is based out in LA, and she is a mortician that wants to lose the stigma surrounding death and make people realize that there's options for your loved ones. You don't have to do the, you know, the $12,000 funeral with the fancy casket that's sealed. Why they seal them, I have no idea. Or the mausoleum and the whole embalming and the makeup and all that stuff. She pushes like natural death, natural burial, you know, which is something I am all for. So, and she also has a YouTube channel here on YouTube. It's called Ask a Mortician, and she makes it kind of fun, investigating different news articles and famous people that have died, and you know what happened to their body. And she went over the whole cryogenics with Disney and different mummies that have been preserved around the world, not just Egyptian mummies now. We got, you know, other cultures that do that same thing that aren't as well known. So anyway, I started reading her stuff and listening to her YouTube videos, and it really helped me with realizing that none of us are going to get through this life without experiencing our death. We haven't got that far yet. I hope we never do, only because we're overpopulated anyway, and that would just make it so much worse. There's a book, too, that I want to read. I haven't read it yet, but it's called Scythe. And it's about how this dystopian society, they have conquered death, and therefore to control population they have to hire these scythes, which are humans that go out and kind of cull the population, which is super interesting to me, and all the feelings and stuff that goes with that. So yeah, I want to read that, Scythe, and I'm not sure who it's by, but anyway, so where was I going with that? Oh yeah, conquering death. So look up Caitlin Doughty if you have trouble with that thought of not being in this flesh bag anymore. I don't know what your thoughts are on death. For me, I believe that we are not our bodies. Some form of life goes on after this, whether it be conscious life, another life, or that our energy goes on. I'm not entirely sure, as I'm sure most of us aren't positive on what happens after. But I ponder that we will see each other again, our energies, and we will know it's whoever it is because the energy is familiar. Maybe not see them in the form that we knew them, but are very familiar with that energy, so we can recognize when we get there who it is. I also, that year, it's 2 years ago now, and it was a very morbid thing, but I'm so glad I did it. It really helped with the death process, processing in my mind what would happen. We did our advance directives and our living will, and you know what happens after this body passes on, what we want to happen to it. And I want an all-natural burial. There's one cemetery that allows you to do that, and it's way up in Berlin. I'm not sure if anybody else is hopping on the bandwagon for that or not, but it's a true trend that's happening, and I'm hopping right on it. It's freaking my family out a little bit, but I think it's just because they're not used to it. You know, you think of death and you think of the casket and the wake and the funeral and the, you know, a lot of times you don't even see the casket going into the ground, and you know, it's just kind of weird how society has kind of programmed us to think in a certain way about death. And I'm gonna break all those boundaries for my kids. Surprise! I've always been that kind of mom anyway. Think outside the box. When your box gets too small, I'm gonna break it open for you. So yeah, I want, my wake is at home. I would like to die at home if possible. I want my body to stay in the home until I'm buried. You know, washed up, and I'm gonna make a lace wrap for myself out of 100% cotton, so it's totally biodegradable. And I'm gonna crochet a pretty lace shroud. That's the word I'm looking for. Shroud for myself. The natural burial places require that there's nothing artificial. So glasses have to come off, fillings have to come out. Oh, I don't know about fillings. I know false teeth have to come out. But I'm not sure about fillings. And my other question about that, which I'll have to do some more investigation, is like pacemakers and screws and things like that that we have during our lifetime to help us keep going. So I have to do some more research about that. But your body is washed and prepared at home. It's wrapped in an all-natural shroud. You can have clothing on if you want, but it needs to be of a natural material, like 100% cotton, with no nylon, no artificial fabrics at all. Or you could do hemp clothing. That would be perfect. And I may do that. I may crochet the same material into like a dress or something for my daughter to put on me. My daughter and my husband, hopefully, will be the ones to wash me and dress me for my journey underground. And then I'll be taken up north, or wherever I can find a natural burial spot. Hopefully there'll be one that opens sooner around here. But you're just driven to the natural burial ground, and the funeral service is performed right there, under the trees, in the forest, whatever. This one is pretty wooded. It's beautiful, and I'm glad that I'm going to be going there. We still have to buy the plots. I want to have all of that done, so that the life insurance policy just goes to the kids and they don't have to spend anything out of it, I got 4 kids, so I got to leave them something. Anyway, so we're trying to get all those arrangements done ahead of time for them. My parents did that for me, and it was, my dad has passed, my mom hasn't passed yet, but it helped to the grieving process. My husband's dad didn't do that, so not only were we grieving, but we had to come up with money for his cremation and have him shipped up from Florida. So, because he didn't do any of that. He didn't put any money away. He didn't pay for his cremation or burial or any of that. He left it to his kids, which I think is very irresponsible. I love him, but that was irresponsible and selfish. And I don't want to do that to my children. So anyway, and the other part of it is I don't know how to transport. I don't know if there's a certain thing that you have to do to transport a body like that, because it's a 2-hour drive up there. So I got to look into that too. When we first talked about it, my husband's like, so what do I do with you to get you up there? And I said, just throw me in the back of the truck. I'm not going to give a shit. So, no. He's like, no. Okay. But anyway, so what are your thoughts on death, and what do you think is going to happen to you, not your body? What's going to happen to you after you pass? Do you think we have several lifetimes, or is this the one shebang? What else? What is your hopes for your burial? When you are done with this incarnation, when you've learned all that your soul needs to learn this time around, what do you want to have happen to you? Do you want a headstone so you take up space forever? It's tough questions, but it's something to think about. I'm not all morbid type of person, but I'm a realist, and everybody's got to go through it, and we got to go through it alone. Which is another thing that kind of freaks me out. I don't really do anything on my own. I got either a kid or a husband or a dog or somebody with me all the time. So that kind of freaks me out too. I need to do a little bit more work on that. So if you're not too freaked out about this video, put a like and tell me your thoughts. Do a VR if you want to. That would be awesome. And let's see. I think that's it. I'm almost to the store. I just wanted to bring this subject up. I haven't heard many people talk about it, and it's super uncomfortable. But I think that as witches, we've kind of evolved a bit more than most. So I figured it would be okay to pose this question to you. I love you guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye.